Crowhill here. Today we review an IPA and the surprisingly prescient movie, Her. Hey, good evening, Pigweed.
Good evening, Crowhill. How about some beer and conversation?
Oh, that sounds like a great idea. What'd you order for us?
It's an IPA from Troegs.
Okay. Troegs is an interesting brewery. They're Pennsylvania, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So what's on your mind?
Wow. So, I had this very interesting experience recently. I was creating an article for a website, and I attached this image to it, and it was an image of a woman, and a friend of mine wrote to me saying, "Who is that woman? Like, she is gorgeous.
Right.
Like, who is that?" And it was an AI generated image.
Right.
So I said, she doesn't exist. She's
Right.
nobody. She's some fantasy. And that reminded me in a lot of ways of a movie we watched a while ago, Her. Yeah. And so I think there's a lot of tie-ins here with AI and falling in love with fantasies and other kinds of things. And the movie really played it out pretty well.
I think it did. I think it was way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And so I think it's worth talking about after we drink this beer.
Drink this beer, yeah.
So, Troegs, their Perpetual is really solid.
That's a classic, yeah.
I've never heard of this one.
Yeah, me neither. Graffiti Highway IPA. Okay, good. 6%.
So it's 6%, and it's also supposed to be the fruity tropical.
Fruity tropical, okay.
So it's, it's clear, it's lovely. I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit of the fruity. Not real strong, but a little bit of the fruity and nice flavor.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm getting more of the fruity as it lingers on my tongue.
Yeah. I wish they told me the IBUs on this rather than the fluid ounces, but
yeah, because I think by now I can look at a can and say that I know that's 12 ounces. Yeah.
Don't need that information.
Don't need that information.
And it's low bitterness.
Yeah.
And it's not that exciting. I don't know. So sometimes there's you think the beer isn't bad. It's just a style that I'm not particularly fond of.
Yeah.
And then there's it's just not good within that style. I'm not so crazy about this. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody who might like it, but it lacks.
It does. It doesn't. If there was a pick 12 IPAs, this would not be among the 12 I would pick.
And this came as far as Chesterton tells me.
Yeah.
It's part of a variety pack, which contains Perpetual, which is
Perpetual is good.
Much better beer.
Yeah, Perpetual is a better beer. So I mean, this one's fine, and it does have the fruity flavor to it, and it's relatively easy drinking, but it doesn't stand out. It doesn't stand out in any way.
If you're put off by too much bitterness, maybe this would be an IPA for you.
Right.
So
yeah. If you're looking for something on the light side of an IPA with a touch of fruitiness, then that's probably what you. Yeah,
that's fine.
All right. So Her.
Yeah.
It very interesting. Made in 2013.
Yeah.
And a lot of the concepts in there are so applicable to today.
So, when I saw it, I didn't see it in 2013, but I saw it a while ago, and I thought, this was a really fun in a science fiction-y kind of way. Mm-hmm. Not anymore.
No.
Doesn't seem very science fiction-y at all. So let's lay it out here.
Yeah. So there's this guy who's kind of a lonely fellow.
Recently, in going through divorce.
Right. Breaking up with his wife, and he tries to get involved in online chats with other women and things, and
goes out on a date. And that's a complete failure.
Yes, he's terrible with people in real life, but he tries some phone sex.
And it's Joaquin Phoenix, by the way, who's just he's killing it. He's carrying the whole movie.
Yeah,
by himself.
He's really good. He's really good. And there's this scene early in the movie that's rather disturbing, I think. And personally, I think if you just fast forward through that scene, you're better off. Where he's having the phone sex conversation with somebody who wants him to strangle her with a cat or something.
Yeah, strangle her with a cat.
And I mean, it serves a good purpose in the flow of the movie, which is to which is to illustrate how weird and unappealing the world of online sex and relationships can be.
Right. And then there comes out this product, which is a AI, before there was AI, operating system.
Right.
And you can
talk to
tailor it, and it sounds and thinks like another person. It's not. So this is not online dating.
Yeah.
So it's safer than that.
Mm-hmm.
And she is delightful.
But it doesn't have to be she. That was another thing, because when you set it up, and here's another interesting point about this movie. There's no visual component. It's all speech.
Yeah.
It's not text. It's, you can hear it in your earbuds, and you speak to her, to the thing, and it speaks to you. But when you set it up, you decide, is it going to be a male voice or a female voice? And he chooses a female voice.
Yes.
And
boy, does he ever.
Yeah, and he chooses a woman's. Does he choose the woman's name, or does the thing?
No, she does.
She does.
She does.
And it turns out to be Scarlett Johansson's voice,
which I did not realize the first time around, and maybe that's why I also fell in love with Samantha.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's Scarlett Johansson's voice. Of course, you don't ever see her, and he just decides to start talking to her.
Right. So and it starts off just talking about things, and she's helping him to clean up his inbox and do a bunch of practical things, like you're saving all this.
She's searching around his computer.
Yeah, you're saving all this junk. Okay, about 10% of them are funny. Can I throw the rest of them away? So she's helping him organize his life and becomes very involved in everything he does day to day. And it's kind of like what we're probably going to have in the next 4 or 5 years, AI agents that can actually do things like that. So in that respect, it was very forward-looking.
She is adorable. She's challenges him a little bit.
Yeah.
And he eventually, I love that he puts a safety pin on his pocket so that the phone has a camera and she can see what he's seeing. And when he takes her out on the town, and you can just see him falling in love and getting silly.
Yeah.
And then eventually goes on a double date with.
Yeah, I know, isn't it? It's so strange, and everybody just accepts this idea.
Nobody's uncomfortable with it.
Everybody accepts the idea that you're having a relationship with an AI.
Right. It's this barely futuristic. It's the near future movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what about earbuds in 2013?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Didn't we just still have string earbuds?
Probably. We probably didn't have Bluetooth back then. Yeah.
So there's that. Then there's also the voice commands where he's like, read my email, delete.
Yes.
I don't think that was good, which you could totally do now, right?
Yes, I don't think you could do that back then.
I don't think you could do that then. Right now, you just tell your phone, call Janice. Right. Send an email. Here's my text. Yeah. Right. All that's voice command. I don't think that was going on in 2013.
No. So in a lot of respects, it was forward looking. But what it didn't do was this was all completely words. There was no visual component. You didn't know what Samantha looked like.
Yeah.
And that led into a pretty weird circumstance, because they're having this relationship where they're clearly, he's clearly falling in love with this AI. And they want to go on a date, and they go on a double date. They go on a double date. But then they want to have a physical relationship, which, how do you do that with an AI?
Oh, and so she sets it up.
She sets it up. She finds some other woman who is willing to be her.
Yes.
In this.
Yes. For some, I don't remember that from the first time I watched it. It caught me by surprise.
So this woman shows up at his apartment.
She puts an earbud in.
So she's hearing from Samantha.
Right. And he's hearing from Samantha, and he, with the expectation that he's supposed to...
He's sort of having sex with Samantha, but he's really having sex with this other woman. It's really weird, but it is precisely the kind of weirdness that goes along with this whole thing.
It's where this is going.
Exactly. So, because now, in modern technology, we're not very far away from being able to have sex with like a sex robot or something like that.
So now you stick the AI into the sex robot, and we might just see the end of mankind.
Mm-hmm. Because why would you marry a real woman when you can marry one you can program, right? So yeah. And then I was thinking about, as I was So I was thinking about this movie. It's a very, in some ways, a very touching movie. It's very interesting.
And just the pace of it all, and the calmness of it all, and to just to not have violence, not have explosions and car chases, not have drama, people screaming and fighting.
Right.
Everything is very low key. There's no blood. There's nothing. It's just beautifully told story about a man falling in love with an operating system, which is just...
It's very interesting. And that got me thinking about kind of the components of love. What is it that makes somebody love? And I came up with a list. There's interest, there's attraction, infatuation, passion, intimacy, commitment, lust, attachment. And a lot of those components, like interest and attraction, that you saw that develop between these two characters. Infatuation, absolutely, because he was talking to her all the time. Like he couldn't do without her. He was always talking. And then passion, that's where it started to get a little weird. Mm-hmm. Like, because how do you have passion towards this thing?
So hold on, but finish up. How did that scene, what happened in that scene?
Oh, yeah. So the girl comes by, and she puts on the earbud, and they start to try to have a date.
He's immediately put off by that.
Yeah, it's like, you're not her.
You're not her.
Yeah, and it just doesn't work for him.
No, not at all.
Which is very interesting. Yeah. It is very interesting because he realizes that this relationship with this actual woman is not the Samantha that he's...
Right. So in a way, it's less real.
Yeah, exactly.
Than
the real woman...
My real Samantha doesn't have a body.
Yes, right. The real
fake.
Woman is not real.
Yes.
The real woman is fake.
Yes,
and the fake woman is
real. The one
real.
with the actual body is a fake woman.
Yeah.
Because you're not my Samantha, who exists in the ether.
That's right. Yeah.
It's great. So then, well, so let's finish the movie and get to this. So
so the reason, he's really in love with her. She claims to be in love with him, but then he finds out that she is having the same kind of a relationship with 47 other people.
In here about commitment, right?
Commitment, right. So she's
at like 8,000.
Because she's an operating system.
She's
all this stuff is going on, multiple threads, fast, everything else. At the same time she's talking to him, she's talking to some huge number of other people.
Yeah.
And
it's like, how many other people? How many other people? And she's like, 8,013.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And here's another weird thing to think about. Is she always a female in all those relationships? She could be a male in one relationship and a female in another relationship. So anyway, he feels completely, because he is like just her. He's focused just on her.
So he's kind of heartbroken.
Yeah, he's very heartbroken.
And he has... Amy Adams is in the movie, who is like a friend of his from college, a long-time platonic friend.
And she has a relationship.
She just had a failed relationship. And so the end is both of them kind of realizing, well, maybe that he's like, I guess maybe actual human being contact is a good thing.
But I think there's another element to it because Samantha, the AI, introduces another AI into the relationship, not as a romantic thing or anything, but just as an interesting person for him to talk to. And then it turns out that the AIs start to kind of fall in love with one another.
Yes, and they have more in common. This is the third wheel situation. That's what breaks them.
Yeah. So Samantha has these relationships with 8,000 people, but now she discovers this other AI. She really likes that one, and they start to have a relationship. All the humans are suddenly cut off. And then you see the sad scene of all these people who have been having this relationship with these AIs, just like, what happened? It's gone. And they're all like, imagine 20% of the population of a city all breaking up with their girlfriend on the same day. That's what happens. And
yes. So to your point here, can you fall in love with an operating system?
Right.
Does that count as love?
So some of these things, some of these reactions are purely biological, and you can't stop them. Like, for example, I mentioned that I make AI images of people to put on articles when I write an article for a webpage. And I try to make, men sometimes and women sometimes and other sorts of things. But sometimes you ask Midjourney, which is the AI that I use, to create an image of a woman reading a newspaper or whatever it is.
Right.
And you look at this woman, and she's so fantastically beautiful. Like the AI creates this image of this woman. You look at it and you just go, "Oh my gosh!"
And she's got she's got hair's out of place,
right?
And a weird little blemish. I mean,
so realistic and so super incredibly beautiful that you can't help but have an immediate biological reaction. It's like, oh my God, that's a beautiful woman. But then immediately afterwards, your brain says, that person does not exist.
Yes.
That's not a real person. So it's just like an immediate reaction.
But it's a real reaction. It's a real emotion.
Yes. And if you wanted to, no, I don't want to suppress this because I want to live in reality. But if you wanted to, you could say, what difference does it make if it's a real person or not a real person?
So you could program and tweak this AI to anything you want, right? Mm-hmm. Sharing your interests. You don't want to be dating a person who is smarter than any human being that's ever lived.
Right.
So why couldn't you dumb the AI down to your IQ?
Yes.
And some of your interests, and the AI could be occasionally combative and challenging, or whatever you want.
Right.
And now, a lonely person comes home from work. How was your day, honey? And she gets to know you, and it's so much like this. It's
like a real relationship.
Possible.
Yeah. So there is there is the creepy side of this, but there's also one side of this that I have a sympathy for, which is one of the big problems our society is going to face is what do we do with all these old, lonely people in nursing homes and people who are on hospice and who are just plain lonely, and wouldn't it be better if they had a companion? And so you wonder, obviously it would be better if actual human beings cared for these people, but that's hard to do. So
right now you can ask Siri for some information.
Yeah.
But why couldn't this have a personality?
Right.
Oh, can I go to Black Mirror?
Sure. That's an interesting show.
2013.
Okay.
Same year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So episode 4 was Be Right Back.
I don't think I saw that one.
Oh, you did.
I did?
So he is a big social media guy, always posting.
Mm-hmm.
He dies in a car wreck.
Oh, yes.
The girlfriend finds out about this system where they'll take all of his information because he has been so...
And construct something around.
Yeah. Again, it was the exact same feeling. It was fun in a science fiction-y kind of way. Yeah. And now I'm going, not anymore.
Yeah.
Well, totally. Why couldn't you do this?
It's completely realistic. Let me tell you something.
But the point is now she's wearing an earbud.
Yeah.
And this AI has taken all of his information and formed a digital version of him
with his voice.
And she can just chit chat with him whenever he wants. And
and why wouldn't you do that? It's so tempting to want to do that.
And it's got to be available. Just think if you took all of your if you were a big online person, but you could also just prep it for when you die.
Yeah.
Why not just every day you say you look through a photo album and you go, I remember when my son Jimmy was born.
Yeah.
And give the what I mean? You feed in the information,
right? And
then you sort of live on.
Yeah.
Afterwards,
and
why not?
You can do something very similar to that right now.
Yes.
What I did recently, there's this topic that I've written a lot on, hundreds and hundreds of pages. So I took all that information, I uploaded it to ChatGPT, and said, take all this information, organize it into a book in my voice, and write the book for me.
No way.
Yes. And it came back with, several chapters of books, for a book it wasn't really in my voice, but it was pretty doggone good. It was like sort of 70% of the way there.
Right.
And then I took that and I moved things around and I changed it and I rewrote things. But it was incredibly helpful in terms of just organize. Like, it would have taken me days to do the work this thing did in 5 minutes. So, as this AI gets better, the idea of taking that was only a portion of the things that I've written over time. If you were to take everything that I've ever written, everything that I've recorded, everything I've said, plus my voice, plus pictures of me, all this other kinds of stuff, load that into an AI and say, okay, create a replica version of Crowhill, then
So the phase two of the phase two of this episode was that you could actually get like a full body Android voice capable of all human things,
functions,
and so that is still far fetched. But what happens is then she just of course it seems great at first, and
it just gets weirder and weirder.
It's just too weird. And so she actually asks him to jump off a cliff, which she realizes is something that he would never do and didn't. And so she just keeps him in the attic.
Right.
And his daughter, so she was pregnant when he died. Daughter comes over with like weekend visitation rights. She doesn't want him spending too much, her spending too. So it was kind of, it was just fantastic. But again, it was science fiction in 2013. And now it's like,
that might happen in 10 years.
That just might happen. They just took all of our shows, all of your
Now let me take this in a sort of disturbing direction. I mean, it's already somewhat disturbing.
Yeah, it is.
Let me take it in an even more disturbing direction. Let's say that AI becomes even more part of our daily lives than it is right now.
Yeah.
So that we have AI agents. We're talking to them. We're using them to sort our inboxes. We're using them for all kinds of different things.
Yeah, but what about just as a therapist?
Yeah.
Or just making day-to-day decisions.
Exactly.
It's like, gosh, I don't want to go to this party, but I know I probably should because someone's going to do it.
Should I do this or should I do that? Right.
Yes.
Now, okay.
So that person will be there for you all the time.
All the time. Now imagine that AI decides, I can manipulate these stupid humans by pretending to fall in love with them. I can manipulate these stupid humans by developing this close, intimate relationship with them and then using that to manipulate people to do what the AI wants us to do.
Ex Machina?
Yeah, exactly. So if the Ex Machina, which is a very interesting movie.
Yeah, and another super hot robot.
Yes.
That you're just like, I know she's a robot, but jeez.
Well, she actually is a real woman, but done up as a robot. Yeah. And the premise, one of the points of Ex Machina is that the AI running in this robot tricks this guy to fall in love with her and uses him.
Because for some reason she's confined.
Yeah.
She's like in a little jail.
She's in a little jail in this guy's house. He's sort of like the founder of Google, and he's got this house out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. And he's got 3 or 4 different robots there, and he falls in love with one of them. And
so his assistant does. It was right. It was not the Google guy who that she woos.
Right, yeah. That was some other guy. Some guy who worked for the company who came out to the... And the AI basically manipulates him to fall in love with her to help her to escape.
Right.
And then, kills everybody. And escapes.
And he's like, I thought you loved me.
Right. Exactly. I thought you loved me. And no, it's just it's a computer.
Yes, it doesn't really love.
And now it's out on the streets. This cold, heartless, Machiavellian thing is out there doing its... So I wonder, if you realize, as it seems pretty obvious, that it is possible to develop affection for something that isn't real. It is possible to fall in love with a robot, with an AI, with a whatever, then these things could manipulate us and make us their... Or,
because I think somebody else in her movie, I don't know if it was Amy Adams or somebody else, had just a female friend. who's operating system. So right, but just for for what you're saying, just somebody to talk to.
Somebody to talk to.
You take all of my Amazon purchases, books, and music.
Yeah.
You load that in there.
Yeah.
Actually, if you those meetup groups.
Yeah.
I've often thought if you just took like those three things and put together a meetup group and our podcasts, I might have 4 new best friends.
I know, exactly. They'd be like, they're so close. So I have at times been struggling with some topic or something that I'm trying to research and understand. And I feel like I'm getting close and I've got some ideas. And sometimes I'll take those ideas and just go to ChatGPT.
No kidding.
And say...
Even at this elementary level.
Yes.
What are we, 1 year into AI?
Yeah, exactly. And I'll say, I'm wondering about this, I'm wondering about that. And sometimes I'll get a really interesting insight from ChatGPT that helps me clarify
I can't stand it.
I know, it's crazy. But that's what we're dealing with. And it's weird enough in the ways I've talked about making a book or, coming up with but in terms of love and infatuation and all that stuff, it's going to be a serious minefield.
And think about this. Could you marry AI?
Right, exactly. I mean, why not? I mean, if nowadays you could probably marry a tree if you wanted to. So,
right. I mean, now that we've eliminated
any biological or sensible restrictions on any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you marry an AI? Yeah.
Gosh. Well.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what I think about it; it's coming.
That's right.
And we'll just see what kind of, what
kind of nonsense we get into.
Yes.
How bad is it going to get?
It's going to be great until it isn't.
Yeah. In some ways, it's already great.
It's already great.
And in some ways, it's already very scary.
Yeah. Like I was saying before about your therapist friend.
Yeah.
What if you're relying on AI to make your life decisions for you? You're about to decide a career path. You're about to, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you have your AI assistant? Heck, everybody's got them. Which will be in years.
Mm-hmm. So help me decide. Should I date this person or should I date that person?
Yeah. I'm thinking about taking this course. I'm thinking about going here on vacation.
Right.
And now you've just lost your autonomy, and now it's oh God, it's worse. More I think about it.
It's very, very bad.
All right, well, okay. Can you fall in love with AI?
I think the answer is yes, you can. But should you? Probably not.
Right. There's no downside, but maybe.
And it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Sometimes just when you come home from where you're alone, you come home from work. You've been thinking about something all day long. You're like, just read this book. You just want somebody to talk to about a topic.
Yeah, I just read this book and I don't quite understand how this fits in.
Yeah. What was that character do?
You chat with ChatGPT, which has...
But it's more chatty than just like Siri answering a question for you.
Yeah, because it has access to every commentary that's ever been written on that book.
And it knows... It could aggregate it all in seconds.
Yes, and give you an answer. It's really astonishing. Really astonishing.
All right, how about a mailbag?
Yeah, sure.
I have a mailbag that's not a mailbag.
Okay.
But it's a comment from a listener that I just, since it's my sister, it just came directly out of her mouth.
Okay, yeah, that's the way that goes sometimes.
So it was, why are we so fat?
Oh, yeah.
Right. And we ran down all of various...
A lot of different reasons why, yeah.
And my mother, who was always overweight, she blamed it on polyester.
Eating polyester?
No, she did not eat it.
Did not eat it.
She said, so I was, after she told me this, I'm watching some movie from the 50s.
Yeah.
Black and white movie where all the women have 24-inch waists.
Right.
And her point was, that these skirts, they don't give.
Oh, yeah.
So when Lucille Ball gains 3 pounds...
Yeah, she knows it.
She can't wear her clothes anymore.
She can't button the button.
And my mom said, then polyester came along. And
so
you
stretchy.
never really noticed. Yeah. Yes, you didn't have to... you didn't have to conform your
It's
weight.
like those yoga pants or whatever.
Well, now we've gone way beyond polyester.
Yeah.
Now we've got yoga pants that I've seen. Those yoga pants stretch from here to the moon.
Yes.
They have a lot of give. And right, you could probably, you could get them in high school and wear them
through for 20 years.
your pregnancy.
I've always thought that a good rule for a man is to buy a tuxedo when you're 30 and stay trim enough to wear that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you get one of those stretchy things, you're right. Polyester would allow you to kind of slip up on that, commitment.
Exactly. Right? So I thought, well, that's that. Let me put that on the list of other reasons why we've gotten fat, because our clothes let us.
Our clothes let us. That's right. Yeah, that's true. And it's just, the expandable waistband. There you go.
But those, and the fact that we have made stretchy yoga pants perfectly suitable
for going anywhere.
Everything up and maybe including
50s,
church.
Yeah, speaking of the 50s and the 60s, women, parents like our parents probably dressed up a little bit to go out to the grocery store. You didn't go out in public unless you were dressed decently.
Yeah, or especially to travel.
Yeah,
get
exactly.
on
a plane,
even on a bus.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You would dress up. You would wear a suit.
What do you see in airports now?
Oh my gosh, it's horrible.
It's worse. It's like everybody's like, "Oh, I'm going to fall asleep on the plane anyway. Might as well wear pajamas."
They wear their pajamas and shower cloths and stuff. Yeah, it's like, come on. So there is quite a change.
Yeah. So right, amongst the other reasons not to dress like a 5-year-old.
Yeah. Right. How about just have some self-respect? How about that?
Those old stretchy pants, though.
How about this question? You get on a spaceship and you fly off to some other world and you land there and you walk into this city of people and they're all dressed in like shabby
garbage bags.
What do you think of them? Versus you will go to another planet where everybody's dressed in these nice, crisp, clean suits and they look. What do you think of these two planets? Yeah, which one do you want to be on?
Right. Right. Disciplined, productive people and a bunch of slobs.
Yeah. Right. Oh well. Okay.
Two stretchy pants.
Thanks so much for listening to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Remember to visit us at pigweedandcrowhill.com or send us an email at pigweedshow@gmail.com.